We all know someone who seems to live with one foot out the door. They keep a bag half-packed, bristle at closed spaces, and possess an uncanny readiness to bolt the second the air in a room goes stale. Psychologists have a term for the coping mechanism this person often employs. It's called the geographic cure, the deeply ingrained instinct to physically flee town and change locations to solve complex personal problems. In astrological terms, this restless archetype belongs to the Sagittarius Moon. They are the explorer souls of the zodiac. To understand how they operate, we have to look at the ways their definition of stability differs from the traditional focus on staying put. They bring incredible gifts to the table. If you put them in a barn full of manure, they won't complain about the mess. They'll immediately start looking for the pony. They have a contagious optimism and a genuine knack for maintaining cheerfulness when the odds are entirely against them. But that signature lightheartedness vanishes the moment their most severe trigger is tripped. They possess an almost allergic reaction to being physically or emotionally contained. Plot attempts at control against desire to stay. Notice the inverse relationship. As traditional methods of building commitment increase, the desire to stay plummets. Demand compliance, and they won't negotiate. They turn into a wild animal, immediately scanning for the nearest exit. When they feel the walls closing in, departure becomes their primary focus. This fierce independence usually begins early. Many grow up where normal parental roles were subverted. A parent might have left early on, establishing travel as a default response, or perhaps acted more like a buddy than a traditional caregiver. The psychological takeaway from that upbringing is subtle but permanent. Ordinary family structures and rigid social expectations are subconsciously coded as traps to be avoided. Because they learned to fear being caught in a restrictive dynamic, they developed a hypersensitive radar for hidden agendas and obfuscation in the adults around them. People often call them tactless or blunt, but they say it exactly as they see it because they feel an empathy-driven necessity to keep the air completely clear. They will speak the difficult truths for the people in the room who are too polite to do it themselves. If they smell even a hint of denial or deception, the relationship fractures. The moment they sense you are hiding something, they lose trust completely. Radical transparency is the only acceptable foundation for connection with them. Any form of deception feels exactly like a cage. You can see this need for autonomy play out at the office. If you try to micromanage a Sagittarius Moon employee, checking their time card and dictating their process, they will disengage and fail. Instead, you have to give them a long leash. If you grant them massive autonomy and trust their integrity completely, they become your happiest and most productive team members. The exact same rule applies to romance. They do not crave intense, suffocating attention from a partner staring deep into their eyes. They crave a massive breadth of shared experiences. Their ideal dating dynamic looks like a chaotic, spontaneous mix of activities. It means taking them to a science lecture one night, eating French food the next, and spending the weekend hiking with a dog. Across all domains, whether sitting at a desk or out on a date, they require a counterpart who acts as a co-explorer, never a warden. But this constant forward momentum creates a serious internal challenge when life gets difficult or relationships hit rough patches. We return to the geographic cure. The urge to pack up, leave town, and find a brand new location feels like incredibly potent medicine for a troubled mind. The flaw in the strategy is that wherever you go, there you are. Changing the scenery outside the window does absolutely nothing to erase the heavy problems sitting inside the room. Their path to maturity involves a difficult balancing act. They must hold on to that youthful, adventurous spark while developing the discipline to sit quietly with discomfort instead of running from it. They eventually find that sitting still and navigating the claustrophobia of their own internal landscape is a far more challenging trek than any flight across the globe. If you want to build a lasting connection with a Sagittarius Moon, you have to genuinely trust their restlessness. Keep their need for exploration satisfied locally by weaving spontaneous adventure directly into everyday life. Invent games at the corner park, encourage their endless questions, and explore the neighborhood with them. The absolute rule for loving, parenting, or employing this sign is to completely abandon any attempt to tame them or close them in. Ultimately, the very highest form of devotion you can ever offer a Sagittarius moon is an unobstructed exit. It is only when the doors are guaranteed to be wide open that it finally becomes easy for the explorer soul to stay.